Hello, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Jordan. For today's video, I thought we could talk about books that I have not finished and don't plan on finishing, because I will say I am not someone that likes DNFing. It just feels wrong. I don't know, I just don't like doing it. It is rare that I do it. However, with that being said, this year I've been very intentional with my time and what I put my time towards. I want to I don't know, you only get this one life, and I'm not a person that likes the feeling of my time is being wasted. I don't know, I want to spend my time wisely and intentionally. So I think because of that, it's been a little bit easier to DNF books that I think just aren't for me or aren't something that I want to put my attention on. I thought it'd be fun to make a video about this and talk to you guys about it because, one, I'm curious if you guys have felt the same way I do, because most of these I feel like are pretty popular. Second, I wonder if I'm actually being too harsh and if I need to give these books another chance. I'm going to keep my mind open, and if you read these books and you think I should keep going and keep reading, I'm down to see if I should give them another chance. I will say, if this is the first video of mine you're watching, it's funny because I try to be very positive with book reviews or talking about books. I don't want to create like a negative space where it's like, oh, don't read these books, or these books suck, or like the author should have done this. Like, I don't know, I never want my platform, whether that's like YouTube or TikTok or whatever, I never want it to be like a place of dislike or animosity. But I guess we're kind of making a little exception for this video, but I also don't think I'm going to be harsh because I don't think that's necessary to explain why I don't finish a book. I think a book can be good and can have good parts, and I still don't want to read it, and I feel like that's fine. And also, the whole thing with reading is that it's subjective, and just because someone might love a book doesn't mean that I will feel the same way, and vice versa. There are so many books that I have loved that people are like, I hated that, and I'm like, well, I get it, fair, cool, but I loved it, Anyways, I am going on too far of a tangent. I only have 4 books to talk about, so I'll try to make this brief. First one is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in a duology, and I actually have a video on my channel with like me actively DNFing it, so you might have seen that and you might already know why I DNF'd this one. But long of the short of it is, I really liked the first book, rated it 4 stars. There was a crazy plot twist that I was not expecting at the end of book 1 that made me cry because I was just so overwhelmed, and it was just a really difficult moment for the FMC, and I really liked her, so I was like feeling everything so strongly, and I felt like the event that happened at the end of book 1 wasn't handled properly in book 2 between the FMC and the MMC. I just didn't like how it was being handled between the two characters, and they were beginning to kind of frustrate me, and I was like, well, this kind of sucks. I want to enjoy this, but I just could not get into it, and I was 160 pages in and I already wanted it to be over, and I was like, okay, this is not a good sign. So I went on Goodreads to see how other people were feeling. Maybe this is just me. Maybe I need to give it a shot. A lot of reviews from people who had finished the book had felt the same way I did throughout the entirety of it. And I was like, okay, well, 1, at least I know this isn't just me. And 2, I don't think I want to finish this if I'm just going to feel the way I'm feeling right now the whole time. It just didn't seem worth it to me. Okay, the second book slash series, I guess. This is also a fantasy. I actually don't know what the actual series is called, but the first book is called The City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. The first book, I can't remember what I rated it, maybe 3 stars. It's an urban fantasy. The writing wasn't terrible, but it was a really, really long book, and I felt myself skimming the last 100 to 200 pages because I was just kind of ready to get to the end. I don't know, I can't remember exactly why. I think I just wasn't feeling as connected to the characters as I would have hoped, and I think I just wasn't invested enough to be interested in the rest of the series once I finished it. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't feel that strongly about it. But 2 of my favorite booktubers, Mariana and Emmy, they both love this series, like love this series. I am kind of tempted to pick up book 2, maybe. I'm very indecisive, but I feel like because they loved it so much, like especially book 2 and 3, maybe this is one of those series where you just kind of need to get through book 1 and then the rest of it's incredible. I don't know. Let me know if that's the case. And then book 3 is also a series. Actually, I'm pretty sure these are all series, so whatever. Book 3 is Addicted to You. Who wrote this? Krista and Becca Ritchie. I didn't know it was 2 authors. But yeah, I DNF'd this, I think last year. This is a highly loved series. I feel like I see so many people talk about the found family and the character dynamic and just how much they love the series and the characters. I was excited going into it, but I think it just fell a little flat for me. Again, this just could be first book syndrome where you have to get through the first one to really enjoy it. Book 1 is essentially about these 2 people who live together, and the MMC is an alcoholic and the FMC, she's addicted to sex. So the book essentially follows them and their addictions and how they navigate it, and I'm pretty sure their families think that they're dating so that they can kind of lie and pretend that like everything is fine and then in private explore their addictions. I thought the premise was interesting, but I feel like if I'm not wrong, they ended up getting together pretty quickly in the first book, and I was like, oh, well, they're dating now. Like, okay, now what? Things had moved really fast, and I wasn't interested enough to see how things would play out between them once that they kind of established they wanted to be together. I don't know, I think I maybe felt a little uncomfortable throughout parts of it. Another YouTuber that I love watching, Bailey, she hated the first book in this series, but then one of her friends convinced her to keep going, and then she ended up really enjoying the other books. So I'm wondering if that would be me as well. But I also don't know. Guys, this video is essentially me just being indecisive and not knowing if I should continue series that I don't like. Ugh, whatever, I've already committed. I feel like I'm being ridiculous. Like, I feel like all of this isn't that serious, but I also am just so desperate for other people's opinions and what they think, so please let me know. Okay, and then lastly, this one, I feel pretty strongly about my DNF, and I do not think I'm going to pick it back up. This is a book where so many people loved it, and so I'm kind of feeling left out. This one is God of Malice by Rena Kent, and if you've read this book, you might know why I DNF'd it. I got 25% of the way in. I got, I don't know, over 100 pages, and how the two meet, I think it's in chapter 1 or 2, I was completely thrown off. If you haven't read the book, imagine like the worst way, and not worst like embarrassing, but worst like traumatizing. Imagine like the most traumatizing experience for a woman to experience with a guy. Imagine that. And then that's their meet cute. If you don't know how it starts, I would look it up. I don't want to say it because it's like can be triggering. Definitely made me uncomfortable. I was just thrown off the rest of the 100 pages that I read, and I kept going back and forth of like, do I want to read this? Like, is this worth my time and my energy? Once there was like another scene that made me uncomfortable with them, I decided, I was like, nope, I'm good. Yeah, the writing's not terrible, but I don't know if this is for me. Since then, I've like been maybe curious only because of other people's TikToks and videos that I see about it and how they really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's just a me problem. I don't know. I'm also not the hugest fan of dark romance. They just leave a bad taste in my mouth. It's hard for me to separate. It's interesting. I read fantasy. You'd think I'd be good at separating things that are obviously fake from reality. But with dark romance, I think because they are usually like contemporary, it's just hard for me to let them be fake and fiction. I don't know. My brain just has a hard time with them. With all that said and done, I hope this video was somewhat enjoyable and somewhat coherent because kind of felt like a mess. But either way, thank you guys for watching. Again, if you've read these, I would love to have a discussion about them. I want to know if I should pick them up again, so please let me know. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.